Hello, everybody. Welcome back to TMR's Master Advisor series. Today is October 9th, 2025. Welcome back to everyone. I see so many people in the comments already here, a lot of Canadians too. Nice to see everyone. I know it's been a few weeks, but we're really so excited to be back. We have a really great travel advisor with a really incredible story here to talk to us a little bit about how she went from part-time to full-time. As always, I'm just going to run us through some housekeeping announcements, and then I'm really excited to introduce a sponsor for today's episode. So, yeah, let's get right into it. I already see so many people in the chat, but just a reminder as we go along for the next 45 minutes or so, if you have a question or a comment, please, please, please don't be shy. Drop it in the chat. I see a couple people from Toronto. Congratulations on the Blue Jays win last night. That was a fun game. A lot of people, again, all sort of all over the place. But if you have a question for Savannah, have a question for me, drop in the chat, and we'll do our best to grab them as we go along today. I know we've had a little bit of break, but I just want to remind everyone we're going to have another episode in October. I believe it's October 23rd. We have an episode on group travel, and that's something that I know has been pretty highly requested from the audience for these episodes. I know it's a big segment for travel advisors. We just had a couple of our own conferences, and a lot of the talk was built around groups and succeeding in that segment. Really excited to sort of bring you a one-on-one on groups on October 23rd. So if you are interested, we would love to have you back. We'll get you the registration link and the information as we get closer to that date. But we'll be back here October 23rd at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So please, if you can block it off on your calendar, we would love to see you back here. And then one more reminder, this episode and then all of our episodes are available for free on demand on our YouTube page. I'm going to have Tom drop the link to that in the chat too. If you have time to head over there and subscribe and like the videos, it really helps us a whole lot. Keep growing that channel, keep growing this community. But all of our content is available over there. We've done some episodes that are pretty good to rewatch. One of them, a couple of most popular ones this year was on building a terms and conditions sheet for your agency. And then we had another one on, I think we ran through 9 artificial intelligence tools that can help you in your business, help you with a variety of things, whether it's marketing or building PowerPoints, things like that. Those are the couple ones that I've gotten a lot of feedback on, gotten a lot of good comments on. So if you want to head over there, you can do so at any time. Watch the video when you have some downtime, when you want to throw something in the background as you go through invoices or something like that. That's always good to know. So again, today's episode will be available on that channel later today. Okay. With that all out of the way, I really am excited to welcome back a sponsor to today's episode. We've had her before in this series, but we're really happy to have Gina Bang, the Chief Sales and Marketing Officer at Avanti Destinations, back here with us to chat a little bit before we introduce today's advisor. Gina, thank you so much for joining us again. It's always such a pleasure to have you.
Oh, thanks so much. It's great to be back, and happy fall, everyone. I am live in the Portland headquarters of Avanti Destinations. And if you're not familiar with us, I will just say 2 things today, which is we still remain 100% B2B. We work exclusively with travel advisors. Every day we're really trying to think of what can we do to make the life of a travel advisor easier. And so we have about 150 of us here in our Portland office, our Manchester team over in England, our Barcelona team, and every day that's what we're trying to accomplish. So if you have any feedback on how we can help you build your business, please let me know. Individuals like Savannah, and we have other advisors out there that they've really taken the time to send us that feedback. And we've built some really amazing partnerships trying to work with you on all of your servicing needs. So before and during, after your clients' trips, what does that look like? What is better for your workflow? We love to hear it, and we make a lot of different improvements. We've been in business since 1981. We were founded here in Portland, so we are one of the few U.S. owned and operated tour operators left in the U.S. that we have a single owner. So all of that supply chain, it starts in here in Portland. So I just wanted to welcome everyone to today's session. Building your business is such an important topic, and it's not just about every single sale that you make. It's also about your referral process, how you get those leads coming back to you, building your lead funnels, using all of the tools and resources that your supplier partners build for you, and really making it effective for your individual business, because everyone operates differently. Your niches, your specialties, and how you get your customers. It's all about you. So anything we can do to help you, we are here for you. And get ready for Savannah. She's amazing.
Thank you, Gina. Again, I know Avanti is 100% B2B, which I think is something to shout out to, but I'm not sure if there's any other like tour companies or even major travel companies headquartered in Portland. So it always feels really unique speaking with you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. So thank you to Gina. Thank you to Avanti. If anyone has a question for Gina, I think she's going to hang around a little bit. So if you want to drop in the chat, hopefully Gina will catch it. But yeah, like Gina mentioned, I'm so excited to have today's travel advisor. I'm really happy to welcome Savannah Sharp to MasterAdvisor. Savannah, thank you so much for jumping on here. I know you're joining us sort of from the road. I really appreciate you taking the time to sort of chat with us and to share some of your expertise today.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here, and I'm really excited to get some of this information out there, even if it's a little different than what you've heard in the past.
Yeah, well, I want to start first sort of with your background. We've had a lot of travel advisors on this program. A lot of them have traditional backgrounds. A lot of them are second career people, which you are sort of in a way too. I was hoping you could share with us the story about how you got into the industry, how you found yourself where you are today.
Yeah. So I actually started my professional career outside of travel, but kind of travel adjacent. I moved into Houston and started working for the Houston Polo Club as a professional in polo and in the show jumper atmosphere with horses. That was my first real introduction to being around young professionals. You hear a lot of times people talk about more business is done on the golf course than anywhere else. I feel that I learned so much about business in general, especially young professional business, just being around the polo club, because in an atmosphere like that, it is all young and mid-level professionals. Um,
So you're from Texas, right, Savannah?
I'm originally a New York girly.
Oh, okay.
I moved to Texas to go to Texas A&M, so Giga Maggies, if anyone's out there. Um, and then, yeah, I happened to find myself staying in Texas to work with horses.
When did you start your polo, I guess, career? Like when did you start doing this? It's just like an interesting thing because I don't like I'm from New York and I don't think I've heard many people have this hobby or have this profession.
So I rode horses all up and down the East Coast, started in New York and New Jersey. And then I actually was introduced to polo in Ocala, Florida. Um, we spent a lot of winter months with the horses in Florida. So I actually did like a virtual high school and we traveled with horses. Ocala was one of those main places, which is huge in equestrian tourism, actually. Um, and that was my first introduction to polo. I went to school though for biomedical sciences, and I rode hunt seat,
Okay.
so jumping.
All right. Yeah, that's layman's term, I guess, for me. That jumping, it makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So let's talk a little bit about getting into travel. I know a lot of people see travel as something really exciting and a really exciting thing to be a part of. And I'm curious, like you said, you were traveling a bunch with your previous career, your previous life, um, but I'm sure there was motivation for making this your full-time career.
Yeah, so when I was doing full time with horses, we traveled quite a bit, both domestically and abroad. Um, it Something happened with my riding. I ended up breaking my leg. I didn't walk for like a solid 6 months, and I really had a moment where I was like, I should at least come up with a backup. and I like people. I feel like I have an easy time marketing myself, and I really did love traveling. So I just made that step when I was making that difference in my life, to go into travel. Like a lot of other people, I was kind of worried about how to get into it, and I kind of stepped into like what the most popular thing was, which at the time was definitely Disney and definitely like Caribbean.
Yeah.
So that, like so many other people, was my introduction to the industry, more fun and sun and family travel.
Yeah, and again, that makes sense. I mean, I know a lot of people start their careers there. A lot of people have continued their careers there too.
Yes.
But this seems like a very common thing for, I guess, friends and family to book these kinds of trips. And when you have like a base of clients, like those are the places that people tend to want to go. Um,
And
so you
there,
were
I would
part
say,
time, right? Go ahead.
yes. And I would say that feels the most obtainable to people because, as you know, a US citizen, like
Yeah.
sometimes the only place that we go is the Caribbean. Like there is not a broader world, especially. I feel like that was the standard for a while. I know Europeans make fun of us for that being like our outlook.
Well, the
But
Caribbean's great too.
um,
The Caribbean, I don't think there's,
Caribbean
I guess
expanded. I
Caribbean
mean,
is a great
obviously,
destination.
I'm in the Caribbean right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
but um, so it felt very obtainable to learn. And yes, I was part-time. I was still working horses. I was still doing at least 30 hours of equestrian work until 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So part time, most you're doing 30 hours of question week. You're booking these Caribbean or these domestic vacations for a lot of your clients.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I imagine going from that to what you're specializing in now was a big jump. But like, what was the motivation for pushing yourself farther into the travel industry? Like you mentioned, you were doing equestrian. I'm not sure if you had like an entrepreneurial background, but it does seem like a leap of faith to make this kind of move.
It was an amazing leap of faith. I was going through some, again, like I found myself in a big lifestyle change. I was going through a divorce. I had small children. I really wanted to find a way to make this sustainable without being in a market that I felt like, at least in my area or with the tools I had, was oversaturated. And like a lot of us, like younger divorced girlies do, I was really into like the romantasy book thing.
Hmm.
And at the time I was reading Outlander. And I got it in my head that like I was going to take this epic journey to Scotland and that was going to be my intro to Europe. So I could have the experience and go and do it. Like a lot of other people, that seemed extremely unattainable. It's expensive to get out there. It's hard to get the experience. If you don't have a foot in the door with a vendor, you're not going to get good discounts. I set my mind to it that it was just gonna happen. I booked an Airbnb for $45 a night. I flew middle seat basic economy with my 2 free weeks of no children, and I went. I toured every 4 and 5 star hotel in Edinburgh. I took crappy trains to other cities that were popular. I just did it. Um, and that was the first step. It took another year to get it to where that was most of what I was booking.
So I guess the first step would be, because I know this is sort of, I'm trying to like this is how I'm framing today's, but like the first step would be, I guess, commit your like that's a commitment
Commit
making
yourself.
that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
It is one of those things where it's like intention. You have to will it to happen. You don't want to force things. Like it's really funny. I got this affirmation card yesterday because we're at a conference and they were handing out affirmations and mine was divine timing. Don't force the things to happen. Work with intention and get you there, and then when it's ready it will come. So don't force it, but if you want to do something, like just start taking steps to do it.
Okay. All right. So you're in Scotland. So I guess the first step for you was committing yourself to this and then figuring out this was going to be a career and then diving into the product. That seems to be a big one. Like you
Yeah.
wanted to specialize in Scotland, like particularly just because like you were inspired by, you mentioned Outlander, but you were inspired to make this a part of like a signature part of your business.
I was inspired to make Europe my thing. At the time with the agency that I was with, I was working heavily with sandals. And I was at a Rising Star conference. And, those are people giving back to you, teaching you how to market yourself, teaching you the sales process, doing all of that. And I love sandals resorts. I've sold so many, I've celebrated so many of my life experiences at sandals. But all I could think of when I was sitting there was, I need someone like this to help me grow in Europe. Like, even sitting here with the hype and the like, let's get CRC, let's do it. All I could think about was going back to Europe. And at that time, I had already spent 2 weeks in Scotland, 2 weeks in Norway. We had done Italy. I had done FAMs. Like, I needed partnership in the industry on an agency level and on a vendor level to help me get there, and then keep committing myself to it.
So I guess it was a matter of making yourself the expertise in what you were selling first, because that's how you're going to market to your clients. Yeah.
Yes. Which
Yeah.
I know that's not everyone's way of going about it, but I was very much like, my main frame of marketing at that point was, I'm the travel agent who travels.
Okay.
Like, I want to go there, I want to put my hands on it, or at least adjacent to it. And then I feel like I can put it out there.
Okay. So let's talk about, I guess, your schedule. Like, you had this moment of change. You go to Europe. You decided to fully commit yourself to this career. All those hours you were spending with horses, working with that industry, I guess, that's now over dedicated to travel. I'm curious, like, how did I guess it's the wrong way to put it, but how did you fill those hours? How did you decide that you wanted what hours to use for what in order to grow your business? Because that seems to me like a big question. Like, what are the actual steps you need to take in order to make this a serious career?
So one of the biggest things that I was not expecting was, if I allowed this business to have the time, it would be filled. I went from working probably between horses and travel 40 to 45 hours a week to working 55 to 60 a week just in travel. I really split those into different categories, like marketing being one, admin time being one, sales being another one, and then in-person time, whether that's with clients, with your community, having lunch with a vendor, or going on FAMs, going on back to the beach, going on whatever. And each of those have a time and place. I also realized pretty quickly that if I didn't eventually get an admin to help me with some of that admin work, like CRMs, things like that, inbox, that it was only going to go so far. So eventually I did make the step and get an assistant, get an admin just very shortly after. A couple of like controversial things that like I choose not to do that saved me a lot of time, and this might be not everyone's favorite, but I, as a younger person in travel, as someone who was a bride, as someone doing those things, I choose not to dedicate any of my time to shows. No wedding shows, no honeymoon shows, nothing. I have never had success. It's a lot of time. Even if a vendor is covering half the price, even if you're using marketing dollars to do it, my time was worth more money to get than getting 20 emails and not having anyone respond. I also farm out my socials last. I do not keep those at the forefront of my time, because as much as they are helpful keeping clients in your ecosystem, they don't do a lot to get you new clients. So personally, like, I do most of my time in in-person experiences. So either getting on Zoom with a marketing exec or getting on Zoom with my BDM, lunches while people are in town. I travel at least once a month. Those things are how I spend my in-person time. I spend a lot of time marketing the groups that I put together. And I spend a lot of time with client relations.
That is, first of all, I've heard that before about shows. Like, I know different kinds of agencies and different kinds of business models have different ROI when it comes to those kind of events. And I know a lot of people do really well with maybe like the consumer events and things like that. And a lot of people have done them in interesting ways, but I can completely understand your point. Like particularly when you're starting off, like you need to see results from, I guess, the effort and the money you're putting in. I find it really interesting that you mentioned your philosophy of social media, because the stereotype is a younger person, you would like build your business on social media, and this is the exact opposite for you.
So I treat social media as it's not it 99% of agents are not going to get cold leads from social media. You're going to keep your current clients engaged, but if you don't have a good client base, then who's seeing it anyway? It's the vendors. The vendors want to see it. And that's so important. You should post for the vendors. You should show the vendors that you're committed to selling their brand and that you can do it well. Um, and again, the clients that you already have, the people who are already following you will see that you've been here and there and everywhere and know that you're an expert. But it's also your foot in the door to get really good relationships in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know there's a lot of there's some companies now trying to help automate social media too. Like it does seem like like maybe it's a compulsory part of your business, but I have heard that like you have to figure out if there's an ROI. Like you talk about the ROI on the shows, but there's definitely an ROI on social media too. So
Yes. Yeah.
yeah. All right. So I'm curious. You make this change. You dedicate yourself full time. You're learning a lot, I assume, both like about the industry, about these destinations, but about being an entrepreneur and a business owner too. Where client wise, initially you were selling Caribbean and domestic. Like where when you were starting to specialize in Europe, like where were you finding new clients to send to these places that you really wanted to sort of be front and center in your business?
So I do a lot of direct to client marketing on different local groups. Um, I am a big believer on the owning your own backyard situation. So, like, I sponsor a youth hockey team.
Oh, cool.
I'm part of the PTO. I leave my business card at every cafe. I talk to every bridal store in our town. I go to any event that I'm offered locally. We have marketing groups that work just for working moms. I got so many clients just being in a working moms exercise group, and it ended up being one of my biggest client producers. I also get an amazing amount of leads through travel leaders.
Okay. Yeah, you mentioned the other day the travel leaders back end, which I know a lot of consortia have the same thing, or a lot of hosts have the same thing too, but the agent
Yeah.
finder, like that kind of thing.
Yes. So it helps a lot, especially for the demographic of client who is spending a little bit more money. They still heavily use just a Google search. They're not looking on Facebook. They're not looking in places like that. They're looking, just Googling, Asia Travel Advisor Houston. And that is exactly how they find me. If you Google that right now, I am one of the first people that show up and one of the only diamond travel leaders profiles in Houston. I actually found out a really fun stat yesterday, if I'm gonna like talk about myself for a second. So I am at Excite, which is Consortia X's yearly conference. We were lucky enough to have ALGV here as well as a rep from Travel Leaders here. And they gave us two stats. One is that 1 in every 21 ALGV bookings across all their brands is by one of the 230 something Consortia X agents. And in Travel Leaders itself, out of all the owners, all the agents, I have the most leads from Travel Leaders. And the only reason that is because I put every single destination I have even touched with my pinky toe. Like if I quoted it once and did a training on it, I put that I've quoted it and trained in it.
On your profile in Travel Leaders.
Yes.
All right. Well,
So
congratulations. Yeah, first of
thank
all.
you.
Yeah, you're
Yeah, I
welcome.
was very excited.
Yeah. So own your own backyard. I really love that, and I'm sure that's like a common like thing for people who have your same business philosophy. But own your own backyard, I think is really important. I want to talk a little bit about again, like we're a little more than halfway through. So you're
Should I talk
starting to build your
faster?
business, and well, I want to talk about Asia because
Yeah.
that's something I know now is sort of your specialty, and you mentioned it in when you were talking there about your success in Asia and how people are finding you, particularly for that specialty. How did
Yeah.
you go from sort of specializing in Europe, spending sort of your formative years or your formative weeks as a travel advisor, living a couple of weeks in Scotland and other of those cities, to specializing in Asia? Like how and I guess why did you make that decision?
And this is gonna surprise people, but it's that stupid Mickey Mouse. I was still working on crossing off all the Disney international theme parks, and I wanted to take a trip to Disney Sea and Tokyo Disneyland. Um, my partner had a really big interest in it too. He's a big Disney fan, and we just decided to take the leap again with my 2 weeks kid free. We actually a little bit more than that. We ended up spending 20 days in Japan just touring. Um, a custom trip that I had put together for other clients before, and I stayed at the top rated hotels from the feedback I got. And we just lived in it. And I posted and I told the story over and over and over again. And even though I would say, like, if people ask me, like, is Asia your favorite destination? Like, I'm honest and say some parts, like Europe still has my heart, but there is such a high demand for travel agents working in the realm of like Asian travel that it takes up most of my day because I have other agents punting things to me because they don't train in it or they don't feel qualified or they don't even know what vendor to use. And it just kind of was one of those things where there is not an oversaturation in that market. It has such a high demand, and I just turned into the skid.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've heard sort of about Japan the last few years. It seems like, or even pre-pandemic, it seemed like but Japan was starting to become the major like outbound destination for people looking for international travel in the US or people dreaming about it.
Young
But the whole
people,
region, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, young people were very
Yeah.
interested. That younger millennial age group going into Gen Z really liked Japan. Japan is now on its way out because, us older millennials and Gen X is kind of carrying on. So now the younger ones are like, no, let's go to Thailand and Bali. But
Uh, I know there was, and I know, like again, I think I mentioned to you earlier in the week. I've heard Korea from a couple of people in
yeah.
particular. Like it seems like Korea is the next big
So
your Asian destination.
So there's a couple reasons for that. Health and wellness is a huge travel market that's kind of growing, especially among younger people, and K beauty and all of that stuff. The actual idea of medical travel is huge now, and Korea, especially Seoul, is a fantastic place to get that stuff done. A lot of this is following trends. Sometimes by the time the trends are realized, it's kind of past the point of booking it heavily. But if you can get on top of it quickly, it is very popular. We talked a little bit about that White Lotus effect. You always see after people actually see it, even if it's not going to be obtainable for them, they're like, I just want to experience something like that. So White Lotus was in Thailand. There was an uptick at Thailand. Thailand's going to start to fall down again, and Vietnam's going to come up. And it's just following that same, like, as soon as it gets oversaturated, like, you find something new. It's kind of like online dating.
Yeah.
You just swipe and it's on to the next.
Yeah. I guess trying to figure out what the next HBO show is that's going to drive
I
Americans
think
into
I
a
think
certain
it's in
place.
Greece.
You think it's Greece? Okay.
I think it is.
Oh,
For Europe.
is that the next White
Yes,
Lotus season?
I think that's the next White Lotus. I heard
Okay.
Mykonos thrown around.
All
So,
right. All right. Yes. I mean, Greece. So yeah, I'm going to put that down and see
but
if
I'm
that
willing
plays
to bet
through. Yeah.
$20 with you right now. I'll come back in a year. I bet the next Asia trend is Vietnam.
Okay. Vietnam. All right. All right. Well, I guess I'll take that bet. Um, All right. So I want to talk a little bit about you mentioned like sort of immersing yourself in these destinations, traveling to these destinations in particular. Putting together FITs is pretty difficult, particularly for someone who maybe hasn't done it before, particularly for someone who's like serving a lot of clients with FITs. I know it takes up a lot of time and there's a lot of moving parts and things like that. I'm curious, like how important was it for you? I mean, we had Gina on, but like Avanti and other partners, finding partners who could help you with these kind of trips, help you educate yourself and help you actually execute them too.
Yeah, so that was a huge thing. Avanti has played such a huge role in me being able to do this because of their one-on-one partnership. Their destination specialists are there for a reason. I have run multiple trainings, even total Consortia X training on Asian travel, where I brought my favorite travel consultant from Avanti, Jessica, with me to talk about how you don't have to be an expert in this location. It's why they're there doing the quality checks. It's why they're there to let you know, like, no, you can't take a train from here to there because it's gonna be 6 hours. Like, let's figure something else out. Without that support, there's no way I could have ever gotten to the place I am with it. You really need those industry connections. And as much as they put into you, you have to make sure you're giving back to them. Even if it's not like, that doesn't mean that they're expecting you to turn around and immediately be like Globetrotter status the next year. Like, just, hey, can we catch up? Hey, what else should I be doing? Please help me. Even just doing that to show that you want to learn more, because there's so much information, there's so much that they can do for you if you're willing to put in the time to do it. The next layer would be specialized DMCs. This was something that I did not learn until after I was a little bit more established, but finding those in-country DMCs that specialize in just one country, or even like one type of location. Like the one I'm going to throw out, I have my own honeymoon booked with 2 vendors. Avanti is one and Via Croatia is the other. They only work in Croatia. They're small business. I talk to the owner every single time I book something, and they're boots on the ground there. Like, finding DMCs you like, finding big vendors that you like who will help you is the only way to survive.
Okay, yeah. So finding local DMCs, DMCs who are specialized in that country or on the ground in that country is going to be important.
It makes you special because you can offer so much more specialized care. I mean, I would have never, I was under the impression this whole time that, like, if I wanted to charter a yacht for a group of clients, I would have to buy out the whole yacht. That's crazy. That's expensive. You get that client maybe twice in your career if you're lucky. Some people never have clients like that. I didn't know that if I had a client coming to me asking for, I just want a couple nights charter and we don't mind sharing it. Like, finding a vendor like Via Croatia who's like, yeah, we can do 3 nights on a chartered private yacht, and the other 2 cabins will be 2 other couples, and like, that's it, and it's obtainable. Was amazing. It makes you look like a rock star because you just sold like a secret destination, basically. I have another one like that, finding Castle Leslie in Ireland, which is like the largest private owned estate left in Ireland, that works direct with agents in the US, pays 20% commission. And the only way I knew that was asking. I just cold emailed their sales team and asked.
Yeah, and I think that's something agents should remember too, is that, or advisors should remember, is that these DMCs want relationships with you. Like, it's not, you're not bothering. Like, that this is why they're there. They're there to find you. And if you find them, they're more than willing to take a second and meet you and work with you.
And half the time they'll send you what the cost is net and ask what you want to charge.
Okay. All right. All right. So we have about 10 minutes left. If anyone has questions for Savannah, please drop them in the chat. I'd love to grab a couple from the chat, but I have a few more I want to ask.
Sure.
When you made the change from part-time to full-time and sort of got on the road to, I guess, a more serious business, different specialties, FITs instead of what you were doing before, was there a switch you had to make with your branding? Were there any initial changes you have to make to, like, how you presented yourself, how you presented your agency, in order to attract the kinds of clients you needed in order to make this new business model work?
So overall, yes, like, that question as broad is yes. They kind of split into 2 things: what I needed from myself and what I needed from an agency. The biggest thing I had to do ultimately was, since we were growing, I had to do a couple of things that were just business related. I encourage every agent to LLC. I encourage every agent to hold some sort of small business insurance, that, like, $150 a year will protect you in the long run, forbid anything happen. So practically, I did some of those changes. Some of the other changes, I'm going to go back to what I was talking about in the beginning, which was that, kind of country club golf course mentality of like, you do the most business out and about and you learn how to present yourself. That was one of the biggest takeaways I can see from being in society in Houston. I learned how to put on a nice dinner, how to dress, how to do whatever. That was appealing and open to everyone. Of course, everyone has their own style. Anyone who knows me or has seen me at this conference knows that every day I wear pink. Like, it just is what it is. But some of those more things that my friends and family know, all my clients and vendors know I have 2 kids. Not a single one of them could tell you, what country my parents were from or what religion I am or where I stand politically. I keep things very neutral. It doesn't mean that those things aren't important to me, but out in the business world, I'm business Savannah. It just is how it is, and that's fine. So making sure to keep everything like on that appealing, like I don't separate the 2 things. Like on social media, when I'm out at marketing events, when I'm out around people who would be clients and not friends and family, they see the person that needs to be business Savannah, and that's okay. A lot of people struggle with that. I find it better that way. As far as like, that's what I needed for myself, the changes I needed for me practically, and as like marketing myself.
Yeah.
From an agency standpoint, I did end up, when I made this decision to switch to not only part-time, but at a more niche destination specialty, I did end up switching agencies. And that's not to say that things aren't good there. I am a huge ambassador for like, there is no competition. My only competition is Costco, direct bookings, and Expedia. Like any other agency, I am happy to be your friend. But if I have 2 friends and one is throwing a rave and the other one's throwing a book club, I'm going to go to the book club because I have more to offer the book club and the book club has more to offer me. I would look like Grumpy Cat at a rave. So when you're looking at what agency to go to help you grow, you have to ask yourself 2 questions. What am I giving back to this agency? Am I helping them reach their goals? And what is the agency giving to me that helps me meet my goals? If you don't align in either of those things, they should both be aligned, then you probably have to think about making a different decision.
So I guess and I again, like I no competition. I don't really want to plug any consortia or agency, but like
Yeah.
what made you think you were a good fit for? I guess you said Consortia X.
Yeah, so I am my host is Trip Guy. Mitch Torrin is the owner, so he is one of the founders of Consortia X. The reason that it worked is because, again, they had things that they could offer me, and I had things that I could offer them. I was very willing to train agents in the destinations that I specialized in. I love doing it. I mean, I have 10 business cards in my purse from last night of agents that just want to punt around ideas about Asia or Europe.
Okay.
I love the training aspect to it, and that was something they were allowing me to do. In return, Mitch was allowing me to have a more in-depth relationship with the vendors, meaning I could go on a FAM if it was offered directly to me. I could have lunch with Avanti and not have to ask first. I could reach out to whatever DMC, to whatever hotel to see, and that was freedom I needed to, just build what I needed to build. I wanted to have that hands-on effect. I wasn't able to help anyone build a business in sandals anymore. I wasn't able to help anyone build a business with ALGV, but I needed to be able to contact hotels that would help me with that.
Okay. All right. So I know we have a lot of people on the call, people who are going to watch this going forward, who are starting off on a similar journey, who are part-time and maybe want to take this more seriously or dedicate more hours to this, dedicate more resources to this. I was hoping you could share with us, like, you invested a lot of money and time when you made the switch. Like you mentioned, like you traveled for the cheap when you got over to Scotland for the first time, but I imagine like you still were spending revenue that you weren't getting because the nature of this career, like you're booking, you're not getting paid until after the trip, things like that. Like at what point did you start to see, I guess, profit, or what point did you start to see a turnaround in your numbers, or at what point did the investment start to pay off, you think?
So the easiest way to put this, especially because our
Yeah.
business is hard, the only way to track it is if you have a really good CRM and you're good at taking notes, which I highly recommend. Um, I think the biggest thing is when you start to see that the trips that you've taken have paid off tenfold. And I count that as in, like, if I'm paying for myself to go to Japan, even if I'm getting a discount, how many trips did it take me to book Japan to pay off that trip? So I know whether that investment in that location, or you could even do region, how many trips to Asia did it take to pay off that? And I will tell you, when you find these niche locations that you're passionate about, it's very fast.
Okay.
I had that trip completely covered and over it by tenfold, by a lot, within 6 months.
Oh my God. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is not what I expected to hear. 6 months, it seems kind of, I mean, obviously literally incredible, but it seems
Europe
crazy.
took
Yeah.
longer
Okay.
because there are more agents who do it. I would say for repeat European clients, it took me about a year till I really saw it pick up, and about 2 years till it was self-sustaining, where if I didn't have to continue to market myself as a European expert, people just knew, and that's the referrals that were coming in. Asia was instantly.
Okay. And I guess, I mean, that just goes to show you how powerful these trending destinations are, particularly the ones that maybe are underserved by the agent community. Like you mentioned, you're getting a lot of people from your local area in Houston who are simply web searching Asian travel agent for Asia near me, and you're the one coming
And
up.
the travel leaders comes up first, and I am one of the first people listed. And I have pictures of my trips to Asia on front and center. I have pictures from my equestrian group trips front and center. It's just finding those niches.
All right. Well, I want to talk a little bit about that, and then I think I just have maybe one more. But you mentioned you get a lot of leads from your travel leaders profile and referrals. Is there a secret or a key there? Like, is it simply keeping your profile updated? Is it asking for referrals? Like, how do you keep that online presence so healthy?
So I send out 2 post-travel automated emails asking for reviews. Only travel leaders. I always recommend, if you're not doing travel leaders, you want to do Google review, you want to do Facebook review, whatever, stick to one. Usually, if you have permission from the client, you can copy and paste it into whatever other one you want. If you want to do the not, or you want to do whatever, use the same review, copy, paste, put in their information, it's done, as long as they say yes. The thing with travel leaders is that the more time you put into it, the more you get out of it. And that's not just saying like that you have a profile and you have a profile picture and like you kind of update it. It means going into the lead generator, checking it. It means putting up videos. It means putting up itinerary maps of things that you've put together in one trip that are like their own location. There are so many tools and buttons that people don't go into, because you can put your profile live with just a bio, a picture, a location,
Yeah.
and that's it. If you're willing to make albums, if every time you travel you make a new album and put it in there, or add it to an existing album, you will get so much more out of it. If I've done trainings and then I have someone come to me one-on-one and say I need more help, the first thing I ask them is like, what have they done? And if they don't say like, I update my travel leaders profile every time I travel or every other week, then I'm like, that is free. Like, do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, like you mentioned, so like again, I know a lot of agents grow their business different ways. We've heard a couple people on this program talk about like Yelp reviews have helped them a lot, Google reviews, like you mentioned. Um, but I mean, I guess it's just a matter of deciding where your business is coming from, what channel is the healthiest, like where those clients are. Like it's interesting your clients are from Google, but not so much from social media. So I think it's just
Yeah.
figuring out what's working for you and dedicating your time and energy to that channel.
Yeah, because I would say most of 75% of my clients probably don't care about social media. Or if I had a big social media presence that was super trendy, they probably wouldn't think the same thing about me, because they are a little bit, I wouldn't even say they're older. I would just say that they tend to be more of like that C-suite level client that
Yeah.
probably doesn't want to see like a TikTok trend.
Yeah, it's fair. All right, so we sort of started off this conversation by talking about your past life playing polo and equestrian. I'm curious, like you mentioned to me earlier in the week, you still do some equestrian tourism, and I see a question in the chat about this too. Like what kind of trips are you booking now in that world? And how are you finding clients for that? Like I imagine it's just your network from your past life.
Yeah, so it's network from my past life. It's local people sharing it, like local horse people sharing with other people, horse show sites, sponsoring horse show classes, things like that.
Okay.
I still am an active equestrian. I show novice level eventing still. I have my own horse. I actually have my own 4 horses, but we don't like to talk about the other ones that don't work for a living. And for some reason, last year I got like just this wild hair that I really wanted to blend the two, and I wanted to see if I could make that happen. And that's where I found Castle Leslie, and just shot in the dark, asked if they would let me have a whole week, like if they would save a week for me and let me fill it and see if I could do it. And I did. And they appreciated it. I loved that I got to go and lead the group. And I told myself, okay, I'm going to do one of these a year. Well, I have 3 different
Oh my God.
groups for next year.
Oh my God.
So we're doing, all different. Like the one in Castle
Yeah.
Leslie is for more experienced riders who want to jump and do all the things. And we're doing a ride through the Laureate Castle Trail in France next fall, and just riding from town to town.
Yeah, it feels like a lesson that I'm taking away from this is that like finding a niche just seems so incredibly important. And like it obviously helps you on the web, it helps your web presence because those are keywords people are searching, but there's just so many niches out there. There's so many people who want to travel with like-minded people who share a hobby or share interest in activities, things like that. I just think that finding a niche and leaning into it, finding something you are passionate about, leaning into it is going to help people build their agencies so much. It just seems like that's the secret sauce, particularly for people like we mentioned, starting off part-time, starting off with generic or general travel, like figuring out where to go. You're going to find an audience wherever you go.
Yeah, and if you love it, that people will be able to tell. Like if you are actually passionate about it, if you actually love those destinations, you will do 10 times better, because every time you get on the phone, you're talking with intention because you have those feelings about it.
Yeah. Well, Savannah, thank you so much for your time today. This was really interesting. I really had a lot of fun. I don't think we've done
Awesome.
anything like this before. So I really loved hearing from you. Thank you to Gina too for sponsoring, and thanks everyone for coming out today. I really love all these programs. Again, we'll be back in 2 weeks, but I love having these chats. So if you are available, and in a couple weeks talk about groups, I hope everyone comes out. But until then, hope everyone stays healthy, stays safe, and we'll talk to everybody soon.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.